In this episode we're looking at a small modification to the mock-up of the bridge that we started in the last video. That was a mouthful. Hi, welcome back to Halton OO-9. I'm Mark, and this video was supposed to be about drawing up the plans, then making the components so that we could build the new bridge properly. And I'm afraid it's not. So this is kind of rolling on from the last video, so I suppose you could call it Bridge Build 1.5. So why? Well, I was laying in bed last night and I was fretting. I'm one of these people who don't sleep well, so I'm laying in bed for hours and my mind's just going over. So what were the problems? I'll show you on a couple of very short clips. What we're looking at is something that goes up like that. So the wall only needs to curve around the top section there, which is, I've got plenty of room to do that. And I think that's going to work all right. That will obviously, the embankment will come further out all the way down. Because the road still come around the curve off the bridge. And yeah, it's going to be a bit tight with the embankment. Is it realistic, prototypical? I don't know, but it's going to work as far as I'm concerned. So that's my problem. I think that the embankment next to the bridge on that lower portal is too steep. And why do I think that's a problem? Well, I don't think in real life they would make an embankment that steep. If you've got a steep embankment, you're going to have mudslides and you're going to have stones rolling down and trees and rock and anything falling down there. Now I know there are railways with almost vertical, if not vertical, sides to the cuttings. Failer Ride I went on last year, and certainly when you get up to Devil's Bridge you go through a cutting there that is solid rock and dead straight either side. But we're not in that sort of area. This is not a rock area. So I didn't want rock faces either side or next to my railway, and the alternative was to make that into a brick wall. And I think there's too much brick already on the bridge, so I didn't want to go extend that any further. I wanted something a bit grassy and moundy that's a bit neater. So how did I get into this predicament in the first place? I'll show you. My predicament started because I have the existing land here, the land level here. I've got the village at the side here, and to start off with, the village and this land level I wanted at the same height. Then I've got a nice flat board for the village to sit on, and then the road will come out and go down into the estate manager's yard. And that's what I was thinking of and how I was progressing when I was making this mock-up of the bridge. Now the only problem with that is that this board was only ever intended to support the village, just so I could see how the buildings would lay out and where they would fit in, how much room I needed and what size village I could do out. My thought was always about having this on a hill. So that's what I forgot to do. But I did have a hint about it. I'll just show a quick screenshot of something that I saw when I was editing the last video that reminded me all of this. Right, so the plan for the future, and what it was once upon a time anyway, is that the village will not be flat. I don't want another flat area. The flat area I've got is the estate manager's yard, which is where the sidings and the workshops are. I don't want another flat area. I want it curved. It's supposed to be a hilly area. So this will come down on a hill, on a slope. And it doesn't have to be a very big one, but it will come in here somewhere, and then it will come back up and then go over the bridge. So I've started to do a squibbly line on here anyway. But the idea is, and if I can keep you in camera, is that this road will, as soon as we've cleared the portal for the bridge, this road, and it's a bit awkward doing this upside down, that will be kind of the road level, and then it will come up and over that one. And that way as well, as I said in the last video, the station will probably be here, and that means the road's low enough that I can have a little path or a little track coming into the station anyway. Problem solved. So yeah, that sorts out my predicament. I mean, as before I showed you yesterday, this was kind of the embankment I was doing, which was sharp and tight and not very pleasing as far as I was concerned. So now my embankment is like that. So it's not as steep, and it's not as long either. And if I want to reduce it further, and I know I just said I didn't want any more brick on here, but if I was to do a brick wall there, and this is about the equivalent of about 6 foot, look at that, that's even better. You know, it's just such a gradual thing. And the landform is supposed to come up here as a gradual slope anyway, and fit in underneath here and then down to the edge of the baseboard into kind of a valley with the hill coming in. So I think that's going to work a lot better, and I'm a lot happier with that, and I might get some sleep tonight. That, I think, is going to definitely work out a lot better. It's going to be a lot more pleasing to the eye, which is what I was after. And it gets away from that really steep embankment just by the bridge portals there. And it's just going to have more character as well. That country road is going to go up over the bridge, sweep down, and then come back up into the village. Now, I live on a country lane, and it's not dead flat. It goes downhill, then it goes up a little bit, it goes over a little hump. The camber on the road goes from left to right. Sometimes there's a right hump in the middle of it as well. So there's a lot of character I can take from that and put into this model of the country road. And then talking about the character as well, with the houses on the slope, so you've got them staggered. That again gives it a little bit more character than just having the houses in a straight go. And I will get away from having a flat hilltop to a flat village to a flat road to a slight slope to a flat estate manager's yard. An estate manager's yard, I could put in little rises and stuff and have some of the tracks on a slight angle, but that's a lot of effort for a little return, I think. So that is laid out anyway, so that will be flat. But to have this flat as well when we're supposedly in a hilly area, I don't think that works, and it doesn't look good. And it leaves me with this dead straight. Well, I could slope that off as well as a bit as well, but again, it's a high embankment. It's going to be quite steep. To have this reduced both that way and then this way will just make the whole thing blend in a lot nicer and be a lot more pleasing to look at, I think. Yeah, it's this thing with these model railways, isn't it? It's not to rush in and do them. It's to work it through and then do a bit, see what it looks like, then plan ahead for the next bit and do it. And that's what I was saying about the beauty of mocking all this up in cardboard. I can cut it, I can change it. If I change my mind, that's no problem. If I do something I think's wrong, I can change it, it's no problem. This cardboard would have ended up in the recycling bin, and by the time I finish with it, it will be going in the recycling bin. So it's a lot better than cutting up loads of bits of plastic, isn't it? And then finding out you don't need it. That's costly and wasteful as well. So I think that's it. I said I will keep it to a fairly short one. Hopefully this is, I don't keep track of the time when I'm doing these, so I know how long it takes to make them, but when they're finished up I get quite surprised. Sometimes they end up short and sometimes, like the last one, over half an hour. Waffling again. Thank you for watching again, and I'll catch you next time. So bye for now.